If there's one thing that is crossing my mind since the murder of Charlie Kirk and how much this has affected so many people. Actually, a cousin of mine was there. I didn't realize how many people he had actually reached out that I personally know. People called me up, as if they knew him. And when I first saw the headline, even though I was never like a big follower of the guy and stuff, I definitely admired him. The guy, especially for his age, what he was accomplishing and what he was putting out in the world. Like, just, I'm not spiritual at all. I'm atheist and stuff, but I do. Everything is based in matter and energy. And he was putting out a lot of positive energy, despite maybe controversial comments that he might have made. And the fact that he was religious, I definitely didn't agree with him on that. But watching him speak with Bill Maher, number one, I hate to say it, kind of proves to me, like, as convincing as he was not very convincing on religion. And it's because it's not true. Okay. It really isn't. But without getting into that, if there's one thing that has really made me think about his death has really made very clear is just how fragile life can be, and this idea that I myself, and I'm sure so many people, we live in autopilot, just assuming we have all this time, and the amount of promise that guy had, that, because as I'm hearing other commentators talking about him and how they were even thinking of him as being a future president, perhaps, definitely, most likely a governor. He was 31 years old. And yet, just gone like that, and trying to communicate with people. And like I said, I may not have agreed with him on religion, but a lot of the very question that he was trying to answer once he got shot, and they were asking him about mass shootings. He's like, does that include or not include gang shootings? This guy had stats. He was very, at the very least, immersed in a lot of facts. And he was trying to communicate that to people. And it's interesting, the reality that this guy was trying to communicate versus, this, I'm sorry to have to say it, that little blind spot of religion that this, I'm making this too much about that without trying to make this video about atheism. But it is about, if there's one thing I'd like to communicate to anybody who's maybe watching this video, is don't take life for granted. With all the promise, all the hope that this guy embodied and seemed to be putting out there and radiating, through his positive energy, which I would almost wager to say, I wonder if AI will one day be able to measure something like that. And yet he gets killed. This idea that God had a plan. There's no plan. That's but life is what we make of it. The meaning and the purpose of life is up to each and every one of us every single day. It's what you make of life. It's what you do with your time. And it's crazy to think how many truly evil people there are out there, like Vladimir Putin. That's one off the top of my head. And the meaning and purpose, he unfortunately is proving to the world is a possibility too, every single day. He's not been stopped, And then the amount of just petty, miserable people out there who are rejoicing in the death of Charlie Kirk. And look, even when Fidel Castro, who I found to be just a despicable human tumor, even when he died, though I was glad, you don't want to rejoice in that either. And that's a very negative thing. It's if Vladimir Putin was assassinated or tortured, someone like him deserves all the suffering that he has brought upon other people, but you don't want to rejoice in that either. You don't want to be out there celebrating, popping open a bottle of champagne. Why contribute to that level of negativity? Even though I think someone like Vladimir Putin, without getting into it, no punishment is going to be enough for a human being like that. There's no way that guy is going to ever pay for the amount of incalculable suffering he has so selfishly and disgustingly thrust upon our species, upon his own people. Like over 250,000 Russians have needlessly died for that war. and the amount of pseudo-intellectuals out there that should know better, man. I don't even want to mention the names. I don't even want to mention the names of actual academics and economists that would rather blame NATO than Putin for all that needless, avoidable suffering. Anyway, I may or may not put this video out there, but yeah, it just felt like whatever little bit I could radiate is don't take this life for granted. It's crazy and tragic to think how it can just end on you like that, you know. And sadly enough, because of someone else's selfishness, someone else's short-sightedness, someone else's mental instability. Make the most out of life that you can. Even if all it's doing is just, you know, hugging your pet to a certain extent, or definitely, you know, making quality time with loved ones. Life is so fragile. But with that said, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, check out the links below for my original art and merchandise, and thanks for watching.